Hello. I would like to have waited for the heater to be quiet before recording, but it's been around, let's see, 0 centigrade or in the low 30s for a long time, so not likely to happen. This is a journal from February 12th. The Mayan day was 5 read. And it has a couple of delightful Adyashanti links in it, each one 90 minutes long. Okay. How are things going for you? How aware are you of just how much your attitude is in charge of that? And that you are in charge of your attitude? It's an interesting, powerful cycle that's easy to change. Well, once you decide to do so, of course. Taking our power back in all ways is or can be fun. It's a choice. We talk about how very different time seems to be experienced on the other side, but or in higher dimensions. Yet, having the direct experience of that sometimes seems to be out of our reach. Well, it isn't, not really. Only this being the backwards realm, it turns out the belief has to be changed before the experience will shift. Now, that's not logical to mind, who wants to say, show me the evidence, the proof, show me how it works over there. Only then will I change my belief. And so they demonstrate their ignorance that this is the backwards kingdom. We must first let the old belief go to make room for the new. There is the story of the Chinese fellow, I think he was a businessman, who wanted to visit the elderly sage, the wise man. He was quite happy to be given a chance to come, an invitation, which wasn't something that always happened. When he arrived, they sat down to chat while the old gentleman heated water and set cups out for tea. When the water was hot, the sage poured the tea into the visitor's cup. Looking intently at his guest, he kept pouring until the tea was running over and onto the floor. And finally the man said, "Stop! Don't you see you're overpouring my cup?" To which the old man said, "Your cup is already full. Come back when you are empty." The visitor was so full of himself that, with a head full of ideas and opinions, he was unavailable to the sage, unable to take in what could be offered there. He was too full of tightly held beliefs, attitudes, ideas. This is how we all are during our sheeple or sleeple stage, every one of us. Thus, there is more than adequate room for mercy and compassion in every breast. We've all been there and done that, as they say. We know what that's like. Yet we're too often full of ourselves, of our thoughts and opinions, to prevent judgment and harsh words from slipping out at times. We just forget. We're coming from head and not heart. Now, speaking of judgments and beliefs, let's have a look at time. We hear it said that we are on our way into the no time. We wonder about that. What is it like? How can such a condition as something called no time even exist? What is the experience of that like? In all of these questions, see mind in action first. And now let's slip down and enter the heart. Anytime you want to see or sense something as accurately as possible, do it from your focus within heart. Head deals with the truth of the lowercase t, while in heart we encounter the uppercase T truth. A very big difference. Now, back to looking at time. Look outside. Is it light or dark? It's light here. Is it day or night? It will be one or the other, guaranteed. And this is a very simple condition, a cycle on whose regular repetition rests the continuation of life on this planet. We share this light, dark experience with all of life. It's a very simple thing. It's also something that keeps us in now, quite present where we are. Seldom do we leave the now here awareness, except perhaps to plan for a hunt or a gathering of some sort. We tell time by the dark light cycles and the moon's phases. We count in cycles of the full moon, and it works. We also go by the stars, even being able to navigate by them when it is dark. This is, I think you can see, a very present sort of life to lead. By that, I mean it supports a life lived in the now, in presence, capital P. Days don't really have names, you know. It's something we invented. There's just dark and light. No more. It's either dark or it's light. Notice if you have any inner resistance to making room for this simple concept. If so, perhaps your mind is too full. Loosen your grip on what you think you know, on what you believe. Monday and Tuesday and December and April are inventions. They are not real. The same goes for 10 a.m. or 1300, i.e. 1 p.m. Nothing real about them. They are conventions, nothing more. Yet, let's look at their effect on us. How easily they pull us out of being present, being centered in now. They give us an easy facility to wander all over the place, anywhere outside the now here. How are you doing at making room for the simplicity of what is versus the complexity designed into our way of thought? Mind invents things, then overlays them on its experience of life, pretty soon coming to believe them so thoroughly it even has trouble imagining a life lived in their absence. It's been a couple of years now, maybe more, I'm not good with time, that I've had no watch, no clocks on the wall. Some have a clock in every room, reinforcing the illusion of structure we've placed over the light-dark cycles. Now, it's all very strange if you're empty enough to even get close to letting go of your current beliefs so that you can get a sense of this. Now, this isn't the no time that I'm sharing here. It just comes from my meditations. It's an unwinding of at least some of our current views around time, a way to step back a bit, gain a new perspective. Since those views are all false, we might as well start this way as any. We would have a whole different sense of reality if we dropped our immersion in our false sense of time. We'd be more present in now, at the least. We'd be more here, instead of spread out all over the false panorama we've designed and adopted, hook, line, and sinker. Don't know why I seem to be stumbling over this tongue today. So, if we can loosen our tight hold on our beliefs that naming of days, months, and hours has any reality of its own, well, that would be very nice. It would begin to create openings, some space to empty us out a bit so that we move closer to being present, to being able to present the empty cup, making room for the experience of new ideas. So, how does this feel so far to you? You can learn much just from your response to something like this. As you self-observe, you can see how hung up or how loose you are, how tight your grip is on your beliefs, because that's all we have when it comes to time is beliefs. None of them real. Do you experience fear? Any discomfort at all? That's good to know. There's hardly anything more precious during our 3D sojourn than self-knowledge, so do self-observe. If you're watching, you'll learn much by your reaction to such things. As you compare the reaction to the thing you're reacting to, you'll gain insight on your hidden beliefs. Your subconscious self shows itself in those kind of reactions. In something I heard by the NDEer, Nancy Dannison, she explained how once on the other side, once the body is dead, she saw how a human life is about 1 second long from that perspective. I think she's died 3 times, or the body has, you can't die. In the most recent one, she was told that if she chose to come back to 3D again, she would come back to a life of physical pain and challenges. Now, in making her choice, she obviously opted for the return. And some wondered, why would she do that? To which she responds that if she can do any good at all, help lift anyone's burdens or shift their beliefs, then it is surely worth 1 second of her time. This makes it clear just how relative time is, don't you think? 1 second equal to 80 years. Food for pondering, huh? Well, it is for me. Actually, there isn't any time at all, not the way we conceive of it. There is only now. We live all of our many, if not endless, lifetimes now. Now, perhaps they can all be seen as different ways we are choosing to experience this now moment. Different aspects of our now. Well, why not play with it, huh? Time doesn't flow. Now, you know this is just me here in my view of things, okay? This isn't the Almighty speaking to you. Time doesn't flow. Time just is, or rather, now just is. Just as in space, there are infinite facets, endless elements of matter. So in time, there are infinite facets too. People, or rather beings, are also infinite facets. They are infinite perspectives on the now here, different views of the same thing. This is why everyone's truth is their own and it's valid for them. To the extent we don't share their particular conglomeration of beliefs, we don't see through their eyes. And even if we exactly duplicated their beliefs and opinions in this embodiment, this lifetime, what of all those other lifetimes we don't share? Truly, each being is a unique work of art, divine art. This is source painting. It's not up to us to pass any sort of judgment on what they see, since we clearly don't know what that is. It's not one's business to tell another one how to think, how to live, how to be. I really like what Byron Katie says on this. She says there are precisely three kinds of business: yours, mine, and God's. I would say sources. Of those three, we need only be concerned with our own and let the other two take care of themselves. Anything else is simply not appropriate. If our cup is sufficiently empty, this one is easy to see. So, take a deep breath. How are you doing with all of this? Are you at all uncomfortable? Now, that could perhaps be a sign of beliefs too tightly held. I don't see how we can get away from holding some sort of beliefs while we're here in 3D. However, my joy is to hold on to them ever so delicately, maintaining the ability to table what I believe anytime I want to check out a new belief. Now, there's no pain in that, in contrast to the agony of maintaining a stranglehold on our set of beliefs. No fun there. Well, hold yourself delicately, too. It's part of loving you, being delicate and respectful. Hey, if you don't respect yourself, don't expect anyone else to do so. Your outside world just reflects what's within. You take the lead. You set the example for all of us by how you handle yourself. If you allow the mind to be unkind, to boss you around, serving up all sorts of criticism and judgment, well, just look at your life to see the reflection of that. When will we all wake up to the fact that we create our own reality and that it starts inside? This is such critical information. Yet we've all been programmed to resist it with all we've got. We'll put up every sort of argument. Our cup is quite full. So most of us allow the mind to keep us quite outwardly focused. In trying to make changes, we tend to put the acne cream on the mirror, on the outside, instead of on the face. We're all misled. Well, you can wake up from this any time, at the time of your choosing. You will discover, if you make the choice, that by removing old programmed beliefs, you gain breathing room, an increase of freedom, of peace. This is perhaps the most important way to take your power back. Choose your own beliefs. Drop belief in all you've been taught and told, even by me. It's really important to find your way deep inside. Call it heart or center or whatever you will. Call it nothing. Call it emptiness. Just find your way in. This is your spot of empowerment. Things are just different here, and you're more empowered to both see yourself and gain self-knowledge. The more old beliefs you eliminate, the greater the clarity of your vision, the broader its expanse. If you don't know what new beliefs to choose, then spend time watching yourself, when obviously from heart, not mind. An empty cup is priceless and not necessarily hard to come by either. It all depends on your beliefs. Try on new ones for size to check them out. What's to lose? How can you know what the change will be if you don't experience it? When you're in heart, then you can understand eventually, if not right away, that there simply is no right, no wrong. That's a judgment, right and wrong. Ideally, what you'll eventually find is preferences instead, gently held desires. There is desirable and not desirable behavior and thought. Now, this is hugely different from seeing things as black and white, right and wrong. It raises your consciousness. We're leaving dualism behind, friends. Maybe while you're self-observing, keep an eye peeled for the appearance of duality in your beliefs. If you're judging anything at all, you're in duality, guaranteed. Get the sense of the distinction between discernment and judgment. They're hugely different, though to mind, that distinction is less plain. You can take small steps from judgment into discernment. At some point, you'll be pleasantly surprised at the change it makes in your experience of life. This is not just talk. This is meant to be lived. Not a spectator sport. Friends, in this 3D realm is both samsara and nirvana. Take your pick. And see, when was this written? 212. Already I'm seeing that as somewhat dualistic. You wouldn't take your pick. Whatever. Realize that it has literally everything to do with how you see it, with your attitudes and beliefs. You have far more charge over that than you may know, but it's something that must be acted on. Life is not a spectator sport. Your exercise of choice and free will have everything to do with your experience of it. You can't just sit back and judge it and expect to get anywhere. Hello? Take your power back, friends. We've all had it stripped from us due to the beliefs and understandings we were taught, we were programmed with. We all started out that way, so we can all find this ultimate sort of compassion for others within. They are not experiencing anything we haven't been through ourselves. So rather than be critical and damning and judgmental, let us find and act from this interior realm where, I assure you, compassion reigns. Where love is truly without condition of any kind. You don't have to perform, I will love you even if you are the devil itself. It doesn't matter. It's all beautiful. But you have to be in heart for this, because it just flips mind out and pushes all of its buttons and scares the pants off of it. Okay. Something exists, so you love it. It's just that simple. It doesn't matter if it's an axe murderer or a newborn child. It's all the same on this level. All parts or aspects of you. Letting go, letting go, letting go, emptying out the cup, letting go. Even if you've made it thus far through life being a goody two-shoes, you're not that in all of your embodiments. Dear one, you are an axe murderer too. You hear mine freaking out? You hear the internal screaming, the rage, the whatever? Just watch it. And let it go. Just watch it. You don't have to do anything about it. Get down off that pedestal you've put yourself on and recognize that you don't know really a tenth of who you are, or a millionth, or a billionth. It's time for a great infusion of humility, my dears. There's literally nothing being done that you haven't done at some time. Whether in this life or another, makes little difference. It's still you. Once we eliminate enough of the blocking beliefs, we are able to walk that mile in our brother's moccasins. We can expand out, not only into the subconscious, the unconscious aspects of our mind, but even into these other embodiments as well. Little flashes of them will come both in dreams and our waking life, often in our meditations. But that's if we make the choices that lead there, isn't it? Stop empowering the world with the ability to run or ruin your life. And I'm going to stop here for a minute, and I'm looking at run and ruin, and all you do is add the I to run, and it's ruin. Oh, that's deep. I like that. As you self-observe, you will also see, when you set off in complaint about this, that, or the other, how you've made yourself powerless there. Without even consciously knowing it, you've made yourself into a victim, one being oppressed, bothered in some way. Now that's a choice you can make. Life won't rob you of the ability to experience victimhood, if that's your choice. What you may not see or realize is just how much life is in support of you, of your choices. Your subconscious takes its orders from you, from your attitudes, beliefs, your thoughts, your words, without judgment or discernment of any kind. That's why the subconscious is so easy to program. It doesn't judge. If you believe it, if you say it, your belief and words are taken literally by the subconscious mind, which sets out immediately to deliver just what you've ordered. Just like saying, oh, I can't do that. Aha, you just bound yourself. Do you see the chains? One way this works that's easy to see is with the little saying, what you resist persists. So, by fighting something, by resisting with the conscious mind, you set up the duality with the subconscious, which will keep you tightly linked with whatever you're trying to escape. The subconscious doesn't play by the conscious mind's rules. It's a different creature entirely. It pays to learn a bit about it. More of that precious self-knowledge. Whatever you currently fear, go into that, dear ones. Fear of any sort is a big red flag saying, I gave my power away here. There is no successful way around whatever you fear that I've found, only straight through. It always turns out, yes, always, that what is feared is an idea. Only the mind can generate fear. While I can't do it for you, you are more than able to take back all the power you've given away throughout time. It just takes some good self-observing to be shown by your own inner self where those places are. It won't be comfortable, but that's actually a good thing. How is that? That very discomfort is Source trying to get your attention. You didn't pay attention to the gentle messages, so the ante keeps getting upped. What will it take? Well, that's up to you. Most of us are so distanced, both from the self and the now, that we're truly inattentive to the messages that arise within. We're too busy. Our beliefs may get in the way of us realizing that, yes, Source does speak to us directly, individually. Our mind's hamster wheeling distracts us from the still small voice. Yet, with all of that, it's all within our power to shift. We will make these decisions when we are ready. So don't push yourself either. Love the self. Decisiveness is required, but it's the decisiveness that originates in heart, not in the mind. If you're not sure what you're ready for at this point, I'd suggest a program of simply watching the self. By doing that, in addition to keeping some focus within heart, you're on a productive path. You'll see, you will be shown. The reality is that we're each being shown, quite literally, all the time. The still small voice isn't silent, just quiet. Any shouting that's done is via those things that make us uncomfortable, those things that we don't like. These can all eventually be seen to be the voice of Source speaking directly to us. We are actively loved, my friends. Source isn't passive at all. It takes heart vision, though. Even though mind may be able to see evidence of this, it won't be able to enter into the experience of it. Mind only knows about things. Heart knows things. The difference is not subtle. There are those who talk about life, and there are those who live life, and with gusto, even a quiet gusto, even when they seem to make a mistake. These are the fearless ones. Mind is the source of all of your fears. Self-observe each fear as you go about plucking those weeds. On the other side, you will find greater and greater empowerment and a great sense of freedom and space in which to unfurl those wings you may not even yet know that you have. If you're like most of us, you have long forgotten that you're divine. Yet that doesn't change who you are, just your experience of that. Know that you have it in your power to reverse a lot of, though not all of, what plagues you today. There is a shift that must be made. Yes, from head to heart experience of these things, before you can get a more accurate sense of the use of your power, what that entails. At some point, you will be the master of form. At that point, you'll be able to walk through walls and levitate and alter many outer circumstances of your life at will. Don't hold your breath while you wait. Just be in now. Welcome it. The more fully present you are, the more you will observe, and the more of the guidance you receive every day of your life will be perceived. Until that day comes when you are master of form, see to it that you stick with now, here, and self. Only these. Only these are your business anyway. The rest belong either to other beings or to Source. Like Byron Katie says, yours, mine, and God's. Besides, the Master of Form title isn't something you strive for or give any concern. It comes quite naturally while you are about your own business. Let the ego die, friends. It's the one that strives for power, and we see the exemplar of that in the powers that were. But we don't need to emulate that. Just let it die. As we live from integrity and ethics with honor, as we truly love truth, things are so easily seen to just take care of themselves. All outer change starts within, so this sticking to self is quite productive. But don't go into anything seeking a particular result. Hold no expectations at all. Integrity is a thing of the now moment, not something for which we plan. The only bit of time you need to know for this trek is whether it is dark or light outside. Everything else is just a mental overlay on what is. Keep it simple, my friends. Mind not only complicates things, generally unnecessarily, but also is the source of our difficulties and fears. If it's uncomfortable, whatever it is, look to mind for its origin and take your power back. Your happiness is in your own heart. Namaste. You know, this is interesting. This was written on 2/12, which was a couple of weeks before that last journal, that 12D thing I just uploaded, and yet some of that is reflected in this. It's pretty interesting. Okay. See you again soon.